Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and today we are going to go into the craziest videos from the rallies from Minneapolis, Portland, Los Angeles, all across the United States, as we've obviously seen a huge amount of uprisings around the country. We're also going to utilize the footage from a lot of these rallies to break down the truth behind the riots and the protests that we are witnessing. Before we get into any of the videos, make sure to hit that like button, check the links below, join us on Flote.app and BitChute because YouTube's basically done. No point to even watch this on YouTube anymore. And of course, join our new newsletter at www.iambanned.com. You can help independent media by checking below because we are demonetized and shadow banned. So share this on social media as well. Anyway, let's get into the videos. Now, many of you may have seen this video, Umbrella Man. This begun the riots in Minneapolis earlier last week. Obviously, protesters were not happy about this man breaking the windows. We've all seen the footage before, but there's a lot of evidence that this guy was an agent provocateur. He had police-issued boots, police-issued helmet on, gloves, and an umbrella, and it stood out to the protesters who called him out.
You wanna go? What's up? Somebody hold my blunt. Hey, somebody hold my blunt. Hey.
Now, obviously, a lot of people have been asking who this guy is. They've been trying to look into him, but it's already been basically forgotten. Now all we're hearing about is people rioting, burning down buildings, and, flipping cars, etc. But the reality that we're actually seeing on the ground at these protests is quite different, and police have used police provocateurs for a long time in order to create order out of chaos, get everyone worked up, and then with that, you utilize this crisis to your advantage. Get a raise, a pay raise, be able to use further surveillance, security. And I want to break into this video, which also really represents the reality of the protesters on the ground, despite what the mainstream media on both sides is saying, which we're going to go into further later after we go through a few more of these videos. Let's listen in. This is hilarious.
Can you flip this over? Can you flip it over?
What? Okay. Are you kidding me? You're asking us to flip over the truck?
Okay, no.
Are
We did
you
not
fucking
instigate.
kidding me?
We did not instigate because it comes back on the black and brown people.
Flip over the fucking truck?
No, just forget
We
the
did not instigate.
This man just asked us to flip over the truck.
No.
With his camera out.
No. I don't throw it down. What is it doing?
Flip over the fucking truck with his camera out.
What?
Who are you with?
Let it down.
Wait.
What's going on?
This exact problem right now.
What's that? What's this?
Hold on. Hold it down.
No.
Now, many of you might be aware that this guy is a professional troll, but nonetheless, what we see on the ground is a guy who's telling protesters to flip a truck, and the protesters, you won't see this on mainstream media, are going, "We don't want to flip a truck? What are you talking about?" And he basically got chased out of the protest. Now, something else we saw was from our friend Josh Friedman, who was on the ground in Los Angeles 2 nights ago. He caught them going into a Serta store.
With a trash can on fire outside. Oh, there's a fire inside. There's a bed on fire inside this Tempur-Pedic store, or whatever this mattress store is. There's a bed on fire. I'm gonna go give you another glimpse of it.
Watch this.
As the police approach. This is gonna be a quick glimpse because the police are closing in and there isn't much blocking me. But here we go, there's a fire. It looks like people are trying to put it out. Here's the bed that was burning. It is burning. And the fire is almost entirely out. But this bed is still on fire.
Watch this. People are grabbing water
Well, most of the beds in here
and trying
are intact.
to put it out.
People continue to douse the fire here with water. This one is burned. Window's been smashed in right here. Window's been smashed on the other side.
So that's really the reality on the ground, and he later showed protesters putting out a fire in a bush But there are some instigators that are going around and burning places and looting things. And of course, when you're in LA, you're going to see a lot of people rise to the occasion to loot. I mean, that's just, it's the way it's been for a long time in Los Angeles. I mean, that's like a Saturday in Los Angeles, to be completely fair. But we do see something that the mainstream media is not reporting, and thankfully Josh Friedman's on the ground and documenting it firsthand, that we have people stealing pillows out of a Serta store. Okay, I don't know what you're going to do with the pillows, but they start the Serta store on fire, and immediately protesters are in there trying to throw water on the fire to stop the fire from burning. We also see a lot of people who are armed trying to defend their business. So let's look at this video.
Oh, he's got a rifle.
This is in Cleveland.
Corvo's baby. He's got a gun. He's shot. That's kind of crazy. Whoa! They got guns in there.
And these guys aren't the only ones that are armed. We got a lot of examples of people armed, including this black civilian group who armed themselves to protest racial violence and protect black-owned businesses. You're not going to hear about this in the media, though we do hear a lot of BS like this, where we saw in the New York Post, armed rednecks defend store from looters amid George Floyd protest, and the evidence suggests differently when you actually pan out. Two of them are black. There's two white guys and two black guys, but of course what you hear is a bunch of rednecks, and they claimed that they were against the protests. They were actually with the protesters, but not with the rioters. That is a very clear, evident difference. Now, let's look at some of the video that this video has been going around a lot of the police on protester violence. And again, this is something that the media wants to promote and push. For people to divide further, attack each other, instead of focusing on the real enemies of mankind, government. Let's see. By the way, if civilian ran through protesters like in Charlottesville, they'd go to jail for life. You know, people get really emotional, but all the same, like, this is messed up. It's ridiculous, and we're gonna go to footage soon that shows that really blow back in their faces. Spraying everyone with pepper spray. Tear gas. That sounds like New York. Get out of here. Like, that woman is just standing there, walking, and they just spray her directly in the face with pepper spray.
Katie, are you okay?
Here's, that was a news reporter getting shot with rubber bullets. They're like half the size of your fist, by the way.
Get the fuck on!
I'm not saying any of these protesters are not complete jackasses, but the police have this unbelievable belief that their shiny magical badge gives them magic powers to be violent.
Get the fuck on! Go! Go! Out of here!
Now, moving to the next video, this has been going around a lot, and it's absolutely insane. This is a suburb.
Oh, there's more. Look at this.
Just patrolling the streets in a suburb.
Go inside! Get inside! Get inside!
They're just on their porch. insane.
Get in.
Absolutely insane.
God, that hurt.
Meanwhile, we have footage like this coming out of Philadelphia. Look at that, my friends. They're using a cop car like a bowling ball. Almost clips these cops up ahead. What are they doing? It's like they're just putting the cop cars in a line as props and leaving them. Reminds me of 2010 Toronto. And later on in the video, we see them all crowd around one cruiser, go inside. One guy gets his hat, puts that on here. And they ended up pulling up the hood, destroying the vehicles, obviously. And they're moving down the line for a significant amount of time after the police just kind of left the police cars there. Almost like props. Very, very strange. Now, there's we've all seen the video footage of them going into CNN headquarters, which I find really strange, guys. I can't help but just find this weird.
Some people are laughing, some people are videotaping. I just threw something on fire, Chris, a firecracker. Something's on fire. Shit.
I mean, the whole world's a stage.
You okay? You okay, guys? You alright? Is everyone okay? You alright, William? Okay, we're okay.
So, we have more evidence of them going straight to the media. The media's been, I mean, the media created this beast. Not, you know, the reasonable anger with government agents of the state that are murdering people, but dividing people against each other, causing race wars. CNN has been on top of that from the beginning. And to see them go into the building, I don't know, some of it seems scripted to me, but sometimes the police seem to have pushed them into that area perfectly in Atlanta. It just seemed almost, it couldn't have been a coincidence. I want to bounce to this video that has been going around a lot too. And this is, again, playing into the race war kind of stuff. We had a white family in the front and then a black family in the back, or a black couple in the back. And they just went up to the car, demanded they get out. You could see the white girl waving. And again, they're going to use this. Again, they have been using this in order to push racial division further. And this isn't an issue of race. It's an issue of government, but they distract us, misdirect us, and cause this in order to gain off of the divide of the masses.
Come to me right now.
Distracted by race rather than focused on the real enemies. These stormtroopers that are treating this guy like a rag doll. Watch this.
Come to me right now.
They're just breaking all the windows. They just went up to the car and started breaking windows. Maybe he was a protester earlier. Regardless, they didn't give him any chance. They just went up to the vehicle and just started breaking the windows. Look at him. He's obviously in pain. Wow. Now, going on to the next video, this is what I was kind of alluding to earlier. This video out of Atlanta. They threw gas at people, and it just blew right back in the cops' faces. It's a little bit of poetic justice there. Look at that. Right into their faces. Well done. Well done. Government efficiency at its best. And then this has been all over the news. Well, not mainstream, obviously, but independent media. We see, this is Dallas, Texas, a bunch of bricks laid out there. We see this video went viral 2 days ago, and this was, again, in Dallas. Let's hear what this man has to say here.
This right here?
Yeah, they put them there.
This the setup.
They put them there on purpose,
Y'all know where we at.
They gonna set them on right up on the route.
Y'all know what building this is right here. I ain't even gonna say what name it is.
Hey, where do them bricks go to? Where do them
This
bricks
is
go
setup.
to? Where do them bricks
We
go
gotta
to?
do better.
Ain't no damn construction.
Gotta do better.
Ain't no damn construction around here.
I see.
Ain't no damn construction around here. You just gonna set a pallet of bricks right there. Oh, okay.
Listen, I did jury duty 3 months ago. Y'all don't keep no bricks right there. Do better. This right here?
Yeah, they put
So these bricks have been popping up all over the nation. There's some images here. This is from Arbor Lakes shopping area, Maple Grove, Minneapolis suburb. Then we have this photo here. These photos, and maybe not all of them are legit that they were there for the protesters, but it's rather suspicious, to say the least. Don't you think? It's rather suspicious that these keep showing up everywhere. Don't you think?
No bricks, bro. We are protesting. Shit crazy.
I mean, we're talking
some random ass bricks, bro. Ain't no construction.
We're talking more evidence of them trying to create order out of chaos, my friends. This is all about order out of chaos. And people are falling for it. And what can I say? There's a lot of stupid people out there, and they'll see a bunch of bricks, and they'll go, oh, let's go break into that mom and pop store. Let's go break the windows and steal everything from inside, attack the owner, possibly burn down the building. Our friend Josh Friedman, who we showed video of earlier, got robbed and beaten for walking down the street during one of his live streams a day or so ago. I mean, this is obviously set up to create more chaos. And going back, let's see what we got here. Gotta watch this.
You guys got the wrong guy. You guys are fucking stupid.
This guy's an FBI agent.
Racial profile thinking I'm somebody.
Undercover.
I take both of you motherfuckers. Take them cuffs off.
Sir.
I got them. Take them cuffs off. I'll take both of you motherfuckers right now.
This guy got the cleanest record. Y'all just.
I'll take both of you motherfuckers right now. Take the cuffs off.
For me, y'all got the wrong.
Stupid, man. You guys are the dumbest motherfuckers.
Bro, they want to get tough. Grab his fucking wall.
You are stupid. I don't know how you became a
y'all
cop.
got the wrong dude.
Matter of fact, anybody can become a cop nowadays. Yeah, so you guys really had no other choice to do? You guys really
Watch them check his ID in a moment
here.
here. This is funny.
I'm somebody I'm not. My ID's in my back pocket.
Y'all got the
Watch,
wrong.
hey, watch how funny this is. Go ahead, look at it.
this.
No, don't hate me. Look at it. Oh,
You
what
guys
does that
got
say?
it fucked up.
What does that say? Oh.
Wrong guy.
FBI.
Wrong guy.
Oh my God! No, get the fuck off me, dude! Get off me, dude!
Bro,
You're
you
a fucking
fucked up.
Matter of fact, I need our cars. I need your supervisor over here. Call your supervisor. Call your supervisor. Call your supervisor over here. You guys are the stupidest motherfuckers I ever met in my life. How'd you guys? What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Look at him.
So here, they get the
South side.
supervisor over.
I need your card. I need your card. I need your card. No. Yes, I request your supervisor. Why is that?
So we have a guy who is in the FBI, and for some reason, he's on the ground at the protest. So a lot of people are laughing because, oh, the cops arrested an FBI agent. But I'm wondering why there was an FBI agent undercover among the crowd that was part of the chaos on the ground. I mean, to me, look, there's obvious evidence that there's agent provocateurs. There's a long history, admitted, of agent provocateurs. A lot of provocateurs have been found with police-issued boots, going around, breaking windows, burning places down, and starting the chaos. So it misdirects people towards racial issues and violence rather than the issue of the real violence, the state, and being peaceful and evolving. I believe in revolting, but I more believe in evolving. And, we have this issue of government, biggest murder in the world, hundreds of millions of people dead in the last century alone. And people really start rising up. They're sick of it. And then you have these people co-opting the issue. And look, this is going to be turned into another racial issue. Watch this. Seattle cop on a guy's neck right after what happened. The other cop pulled his knee off the neck. But, I mean, come on. They're trying to cause an uprising. I heard one guy on the Unicorn Riot feed the other night being interviewed saying that he was watching police cars being let, or not police cars, protesters, black bloc types being let through the police wall with their vehicles into the riot. And then people who were peacefully protesting not being allowed through, no media being allowed through, they let the black bloc types in, close off the wall, and then the police go and surrounded the Federal Reserve in Minneapolis and the Target, but then left all the small businesses open, and then you see bricks laid right outside the small businesses. This isn't as black and white as race and thugs and whatever you want to, buzzwords you want to throw at it, and left and right. It isn't. It's not police. You're on the side of the police or you're on the side of the protesters. Individualism, folks. Why do we always judge things as a collective? That's an issue of racism as well. Collectivism, that's an issue of classism as well. That's both rooted in the government. Collectivism and the government in itself. Collectivism, enforcing ideas onto the masses because, say 51% voted for one thing and 49% voted for the other thing. Two wolves and the sheep deciding what to have for dinner. Democracy. And you have, unfortunately, a lot of people misled and asking for more government, asking for permission. You are the permission. You are free. Be free. It comes from within. But again, we get distracted. Left, right, black, white, police, protesters. I don't support any agents of the state, let me be clear. But I don't have to support every single protester because some of them are obviously provocateurs. Some of them are opportunists. Some of them don't know why they're there. Many of them don't know why they're there. Many of them are asking for the wrong thing. But nonetheless, the anger is real because look at this. Over 9 million U.S. families fear they can't afford food next month, census survey. There are countless people that cannot afford to live right now after a shutdown where everyone was forced into their homes, into their kennels. Mental health crisis skyrocketing. I just did a video on that as well. And again, you're going to see chaos, and everyone was stuck in their home all this time, and now they're going out. And by the way, stuck in their home due to completely faulty information based on the coronavirus studies, and we'll get back to more content in a moment here, but based on faulty studies, they said 3.5% to 7% of people would die from the coronavirus if they get it. If you actually take out nursing homes now, with nursing homes, the real number is 0.26%, but without nursing homes, and if you take into account all the asymptomatic cases and everything, it's 0.04% of chance of dying, according to the CDC themselves. And if you take out, and that's if you have it, if you take out all of that, if just generally you as an individual, it's 0.002%. So, we were lied to, we were forced into our house, global depression happens, people are out of work. I hate to see the small businesses burn. I hate to see apartment buildings burn. That should not happen. People are having a hard enough time. But on top of that, seeing the police stations burn, that seems somewhat legitimate to me. I see a lot of people that are pissed off, and for good reasons, they go after the entity that created the problem. But the media immediately misdirected with the umbrella man, with all these other guys, agent provocateurs, putting bricks in places, trying to get into people's emotional vulnerability and utilize that in order to create chaos, which then they can come in, order out of chaos. It's divide and conquer. It goes back to Julius Caesar, my friends. And again, this is another example. I'll bring this up on the screen. Out of Fox News. Dueling claims. Trump blames Antifa for riots. Minnesota officials point fingers at white supremacists and cartels. It's either one or the other, right? No, it's not one or the other. Let me show you a post I made on Flote.app. By the way, Flote.app is a social media network that you definitely should all join, flote.app. I'm at Josh Sigurdson on there. As I said, they want the right to love the cops who will take their guns. They want the left to destroy as many small businesses as possible. They want the right to think every protester is a black rioter. They want the left to think every rioter is a white supremacist. They want the anti-government right to think the protest is all about race when it started as being anti-government. They want the left to make this all about race. Then they divide people against each other, co-opt a movement, misdirect tensions, and once again we're attacking each other instead of keeping our eyes on the real enemy that is neither left nor right. The state, collectivism, collective slavery. People are being used as pawns to sacrifice for the king and the queen. Don't buy into it on either side. Be cognitive. Most protesters are putting out fires. Many protesters don't know why they're protesting, and the government is leaving pallets of bricks on the side of the road hoping for order out of chaos. This will lead to a bigger police budget and heightened security presence. Toronto 2010, police would drive their cars ahead of a protest. They'd park it in the middle of the road. They'd take the computers out. They'd leave the doors open, and then black bloc rioters would be allowed through the police line. They would then light the car on fire, and this would justify, quote unquote, the police bringing in more forces and their budget growing larger. That movement started as anti-globalism and shifted into a communist fiery mess. Don't fall for it. Focus on government, not race. Focus on ideas, not identity. Don't allow yourself to be a participant in their game. Because at the end of the day, that's what they want. They are trying to utilize this madness like they did with Ferguson, like they did with the Tea Party, like they did with Occupy. They co-opt every movement. They all start as freedom movements, anti-government movements. They turn into racial issues or politicize, divide based on left and right. I see libertarians, I see conservatives, I see lefties, liberals, communist, socialists. I see people, progressive, centrist, anarchists, all sorts of people out supporting these protests. And that needs to be understood. Because there are more people, 99% of people just protesting peacefully, but the mainstream media will say, everyone's killing everyone, attacking everyone, beating everyone. Yes, people are getting attacked. Dan Dix in Vancouver got attacked by a group of, far lefties claiming that he's a white supremacist for some reason, and he had to be escorted out of the rally in Vancouver. There's a lot of idiots at these protests, but there's a lot of people trying to have a concerted effort, a concentration on actually doing something, fixing something. Now, I don't believe protests usually do anything. I believe most of the time it's people asking for permission instead of being the permission, asking the government that creates the problems to come in as a solution to the problems. I do not support that. However, I do support people rising up because it's about damn freaking time. It's better than hearing people talk online, like myself even, just typing things and not actually doing something, taking action, being out there, actually making their voice heard, being the demanding what they want, not sitting back asking for permission or getting mad online. There's a lot more to be said about standing up and taking action because it's beyond the point of education at this point. They created a global depression. They're pushing us into a technocratic collective society, fascio-communism on steroids, Chinese style, in the United States and elsewhere. Millions have died by the bombs of the United States government, of the military-industrial complex. Journalists are being imprisoned. They're censoring us on here and not allowing us to get our message out. They're flagging all of our content lately. They're taking down our videos. They've demonetized us completely, so we cannot make a cent, even if people voluntarily want to give money on YouTube. So check those links below, by the way. It's become a complete global mess, and we are seeing protests in Hong Kong. We're seeing protests in Ecuador, Spain, Chile, etc. And they are trying to co-opt movements and make this beneficial to them. And honestly, most of the time they're successful. Long term, I don't think they will be. But they're creating hoaxes, using psyops, sending people into crowds. What happened to George Floyd is just one issue out of many issues that stems from the same issue: government and collectivism and slavery, the use of force against free individuals. And we cannot forget that. We cannot deny that. We cannot look away from that and then turn it into left versus right, black versus white. Oh, these thugs are robbing stores. That means all these guys are thugs. It's exactly what the media wants. It's exactly what the media wants. And we are witnessing, I would say that the Civil War has been happening for a while, just like the World War has been happening for a while, World War III. What we do next will make all the difference. I'd have no tears shed for seeing a police station get burned down, or even courthouses or government buildings. I'm not advocating it, but I don't care. What I do care about is individuals getting their apartments burnt down, and small businesses. That needs to end. And making this into a racial issue, that needs to end. The racism goes to a classism issue. The classism issue is rooted in a government issue. Again, created by the government. They're the ones that ran crack through the person we interviewed, by the way, Freeway Rick Ross. We interviewed him a couple months ago. He was a guy who made hundreds of millions of dollars running crack into black neighborhoods in LA, working with the CIA. They're always trying to create order out of chaos. They created the problem, and now people are divided even further. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. I appreciate everyone watching. We'll go into more of these videos, and we're doing more live streams covering live riots around the United States at nighttime. So we really appreciate you all watching. Hit that like button, share on social media, and check those links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar. Anything helps to keep independent media alive. We really appreciate it. It's never been more important to keep independent voices alive. We also have BitChute and Flote.app. Please go join us on there. There's no point to even be on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube any longer. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, be free, be safe, and be vigilant with all the information you're getting hit with. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar. We really can't do it without you. We've been so insanely shadow banned, about 90% at this point, and 95% demonetized. As Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, comes in and says that she is shutting down quote-unquote controversial content and cutting out the views on this controversial content by 70%. She's been bragging about it. We need your help more than ever in this battle for truth in information. You guys are what keeps us alive, so we really appreciate just even $1 a month makes a huge difference. If everyone could give just $1 a month, we wouldn't even have to worry about competing against the mainstream propaganda networks. You can also donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen for you to scan if you please, as well as in the comments and description. Liking and sharing makes a big difference as well, and finding us on alternative social media platforms like Flote.app, that's FLOTE.app, makes a huge difference. We're at Josh Sigurdson as well as at Wham. Flote is replacing Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one with encrypted private messaging, and of course monetization on videos for creators, live streams with super chats in crypto, and most of all, no algorithm, because at the end of the day, it's all about reach, guys. This is all about actually reaching people with the message and waking up the public. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Minds, BitChute, all sorts of different platforms. Try to follow us on as many things as possible, because very soon this channel will very likely just be completely deleted from YouTube, and you'll never see us again, and you'll be stuck with only the mainstream networks. Also, come on out and see us at Anarcho Vegas 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada in July, where such speakers such as G. Edward Griffin and many others will be speaking. You could use promo code WHAM on your VIP tickets and save 10%, as well as buy extremely cheap tickets for just $20.20. You won't find a cheaper conference than this with such amazing names. Check anarchovegas.com for more information on that. We hope to see you out there. And anyway, I really appreciate all of you guys joining us. You make it possible for us to survive in this volatile, propagandized climate. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.